For those of you that have viewed the Banjo project, here's some follow-up material. Banjo was great to work with, a real pro, playing the part of the best dog in the world remarkably well. I did do some measurements and trained him here to act like his paws were glued to the floor. Okay, Banjo, I need you to imagine your paws are glued to the floor. Don't move a bit. Very nice. See that gray carpet? That is actual lava. That's quality performance there. And I studied him a good bit before creating a 3D model of him, and I think I got pretty close with the time I allotted. Basically an evening after work I did the model. The print size I settled on is about a quarter scale of the real Banjo, so he's about 13 inches. I did a test print with PLA. I didn't want to waste the stretchy filament, so I used some extra PLA spools that I had a bit left on them and just did a lower quality prototype. It did help me see some potential challenges in the print and to correct those before kicking off the final. The stretchy TPU material printed really nicely. I read it was difficult to print with, but it didn't take much adjusting before it was printing really well. I was surprised how much the detailed parts held up. It did take a few tries to see how to make it as bendy as possible. I really needed the walls to be as thin as they could be. I did choose a lower cost TPU with a shore hardness rating of 85A, which is the same rating as the more commonly used NinjaFlex brand I found. Well, here's an update. I got some NinjaFlex for my birthday. Yep. I've been using that now on my next big project. A little tease for you here. And yes, you get what you pay for. This stuff is clearly going to be an upgrade. If I had to go back, I'd just use this for Banjo. Maybe I'll print them again in NinjaFlex sometime. There are so many stretchy materials in the production world, and only some can run through this type of machine. I did recently stumble onto this guy, and after this project, it gave me a different perspective on how crazy stretchy this dog puppet is. It's from the Cracker Barrel store, and it didn't quite look like this, but I Banjo-ified it. What do you think, Banjo? And Banjo? The other challenge with this one was, of course, the articulation made possible by the armature. Compared to the pros that make puppets and animate with them, I'd get maybe a D+ on how well mine actually works. Well, it was cool that I could make an armature at all with just quick attempt and printing out a bunch of these parts. The function with the material is lacking. Maybe the NinjaFlex will work better. I put magnets in there that help position him, and it did make it possible to set up some poses, but it was a real struggle to get him set up the way I wanted. But we got through it, and did we have a good time making up a little story. I just went with whatever came to mind. I had him on this little stage and grabbed some clay and did the pizza shots. I wanted to see him in a walk and run cycle, and the treadmill fit my desire to also continue to make some sort of moving parts. I used an old remote control boat motor that had been decommissioned. The tread surface was the hurdle on this one. I tried some different fabrics and landed on this vinyl that is used on Cricut printers and cutters. It has a sticky side, and I figured that was probably good if a little tackiness helps it stick to the rollers I printed out to make the effect work. I had to de-sticky it a lot though by sticking it to every couch and chair in the house. That was one of those moments in the middle of the project where I can either have an imaginative thought that I'm solving a great puzzle and creating real movie magic. I sort of have my award speech bubbling up, and then it switches to you're cleaning the dirt and dust off your couch to make a tiny treadmill. Good night, man. Have you gone mad? I got it running, and it did do the trick for my puppet to prove he's not just a floor potato. That's one of his many labels. The boy can run, though, and did he ever. Right off the treadmill. Which is important to clarify. It was rightfully brought to my attention that most people that fly off of treadmills go off the back end due to lack of balance, or overconfidence, or just some tomfoolery. That might have been a more obvious choice for the scene. The director's attempt was to show a banjo that is so fired up to be running, he overruns, outruns, runs faster than the mill is treading, and he propels himself through the wall with zeal and durability. Any further questions about this project are always welcomed in the comments. Oh, a couple more things. Some of the banjo detailing I painted, of course, for his distinct markings, and I realized he looked a little too plastic for me, so I got some of this Stampendous Fun Flock off of Amazon to give him a little fuzz. I sprayed him down with some and dusted a little of his fuzziness on him, and I think it made a big improvement. I feel like it's the sort of detail and techniques I could get better at if I keep at it, and if I learn more tricks that work and those that don't. I also really like how his eyes and nose turned out. I printed tiny eyeballs out of hard PLA material and popped them in place, and I did dab on some polyurethane on the eyes and the nose for a higher specular shine, and I think that helps a lot. After the fuzz, paint, and animating poses, the puppet was getting pretty beat up, and some paint was flaking off, which it doesn't stick as well to the TPU, but also when you mix in all the things I was doing to it. Thank you so much for watching. And Banjo did ask if I mentioned something about subscribing, or maybe it was some scratching. Maybe he was just wanting some scratching.